Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome you to a new League of Legends video. In this video, I wanted to talk about a specific champion, Zed. As I'm sure most of you are aware, a lot of people right now are marking Zed as one of the weakest assassins in the game. The main reasons, of course, being one, the meta is just somewhat poor for him. It's hard for him to do proper assassinations, since he of course is very reliant on the death mark. But as of recent, a patch came out that nerfed Blade of the Ruined King, which obviously was a core item on Zed. So with all of these indirect nerfs towards Zed, a lot of people are just thinking that he is not worth playing. Especially since now people don't even know what exactly they should build on him, since Blade of the Ruined King is just simply not as good for Zed specifically. But in this video, I want to present a build to you guys that I call Duelist Zed, that incorporates Blade of the Ruined King and then changes to it and makes it work very well with Zed's kit. Before I go into what the build is, first let's talk about the changes to the Blade of the Ruined King. So if you're unaware, the changes that they did to Blade of the Ruined King is they nerfed the active effect portion. As I'm sure you can see, it takes only 10% of the max HP and only steals 25% move speed compared to the 15% and 30% respectively on the old one. But on the other hand, they did buff the passive quite a bit, now taking 8% HP per auto attack versus 5. But they did nerf the lifesteal down to 10% from 15. So as a quick TLDR, the changes made it so that people that rely on the auto attacking part of Blade of the Ruined King got a huge buff. But people like Zed that primarily rely on the active effect of the item got hit pretty hard. So based on that, I decided to make a new build that still incorporates Blade of the Ruined King. And like I said, people that rely on the auto-attacking portion of Blade of the Ruined King got a huge buff. So what I did was simply make Zed a duelist, someone that relies primarily on his auto-attacks, not the assassination ability. For people that don't like Blade of the Ruined King anymore or want a build that doesn't incorporate this item, I will release a video in the near future once I figure out a build that I'm happy with that does not incorporate Bork. But for the purposes of this video, here's my new build that incorporates the new Blade of the Ruined King. So I still start off with a longsword and 3 pots, and I try my best to get the cutlass on my first back to base. Following the cutlass, I usually get a brutalizer next. However, if on my second back to base I have enough gold for Blade of the Ruined King, I rush that instead. And then after the Blade of the Ruined King, I would get the brutalizer. So far up to this point, this seems like a very standard Zed build. But this is where I begin to change it up in order to incorporate the new Blade of the Ruined King. The next item I get is I finish the brutalizer into a Youmuu's Ghostblade. Don't forget, the purpose of this build is to make Zed a duelist, aka someone that relies on their auto attacks in order to win a fight. And in my opinion, Youmuu's is one of the best items for assassins and even marksmen now in order to achieve that purpose. And the next item I'm about to mention is something that I love combining with Youmuu's, and that item is Infinity Edge. With this build, you're not as reliant on your death mark. But on the flip side, if you end up death marking a marksman and you end up getting a crit on that target, the amount of damage that your death mark will do is absolutely insane. So Youmuu's Infinity Edge is a very strong combo, especially now with the new Blade of the Ruined King, constantly applying that 8% HP deduction per auto attack. Following the Infinity Edge, I'm sure most of you can guess what I get, Last Whisper, because obviously as an assassin you do need some of that armor pen. And the last item is somewhat situational. If you're not doing very good or you want to play a bit more safe, you can always get a defensive item. However, personally, I love getting the Ravenous Hydra, because last time I checked, the active effect does apply on hit effects. And overall, this item just increases the amount of damage you can do thanks to the active effect by quite a lot. So this is the build that I call Duelist Zed. With this build you can even outduel certain champions like Jax or Fiora, but it will require some smart shadow usage from your end. So definitely give this build a try, especially with the new Blade of the Ruined King. I think it works exceptionally well. The amount of damage you will do, I promise, is going to be very surprising, especially when you take into account Zed's passive W, since that increases his AD by quite a bit. So again, this build is purposely trying to incorporate the new Blade of the Ruined King and trying to make it work for the people that just love this item on Zed and still want to try and find a way to make it work, for instance like myself. As I mentioned earlier, if you do want to build with Zed that does not incorporate the new Blade of the Ruined King because you just don't like it anymore or you never did, I am in the process of thinking of a build that does not incorporate it, so give me about a week or so and I will release another video talking about that build. And the purpose of that build is going to be to try and bring back the assassination style of Zed rather than this one, of course, the dueling type. So with all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, learned something new, and that I potentially restored some faith within you for the Blade of the Ruined King. So I want you guys to try out this build, tell me how it worked either in the comments of this video or you can tweet me at RedMercyLOL or on my Facebook fan page RedMercyLOL as well. I'm excited to see how you guys do. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope to see you next time. Peace.